I'm only going to talk about 2 movies in this video, but well, I'm not going to just talk about 2 movies, but 2 movies that I recently watched instead of making that a double movie review like I was going to do. Those are for movies that I don't have too much to say about. This is for actual this stuff. However, I have a lot to say about, like a lot, and so I got a couple companies of movies here that put out movies. So these are all my RLJ Entertainment releases. I have all these movies. I'm going to rank them as soon as I'm done talking at the end of the video. And then, of course, over here, we have my Magnolia titles, which I believe actually there's another one. I'm actually forgetting it. Down here. Magnolia. So here's all my Magnolia titles. And so I'll rank all that stuff at the end of the video. But let's talk about Color Out of Space. So I do have the book here, or the box set of books. This is my H.P. Lovecraft book collection. So you got Marabic of Stories. I don't know how you say that word, but you get the point. There's that one. There's the Randolph Carter Tales by H.P. Lovecraft. And of course you have the Stories of Dreamland by Dreamland and of H.P. Lovecraft. Now I haven't read all these. I've read Call of Cthulhu because I've read that before. I believe that one is the one where the short story that this movie's based on, Color Out of Space, is in that book. And then you have, of course, Call of Cthulhu and Other Stories. That's one of my favorite books. It's split between 3 books. Batman Under the Red Hood, which I know that's a comic, but it's still a book. It's a great movie. It's a great anime movie too. Highly recommend it. But you know, it's split between those 2 and Dune. Those 3 books. So at the Mountains of Madness and Other Stories, or it's either this one or that one. I can't remember, but I need to actually go through these. Dunwich Horror and Other Stories. I haven't read all of his books, but you know, I actually asked for this for my birthday. I know, kind of a weird thing to ask for. Dad, can I get all the H.P. Lovecraft novels in a cool box set for my birthday? You know, some kids my age are asking for a car or money or you know, I'm asking for H.P. Lovecraft. Priorities, people, priorities. And of course, I'm going to show you this too. I got big old freaking Cthulhu over here. Cthulhu. Look, we could be twins. Come on. I don't know. I'm going to put him right here. And I'll put him back later. But, you know, point is, I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. So I was kind of just wanting to watch this regardless. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. It was released at some film festivals. A lot of people talked about it. Of course, it wasn't playing in any theaters near me. So I didn't get a chance to like watch it till now. They had this on 4K for like $13 at Walmart. And I was like, okay, I'll get it. I'll watch it. But I was kind of scared too, right? Because I saw it there multiple times. And the reason why is because this movie is a horror movie. But this isn't it's a cosmic horror movie. And, you know, I like horror as a genre, but I'm also kind of a weenie. You know, I get scared pretty easily. So I wasn't sure if this was going to be a movie I pay $13 for and end up turning off halfway through not being able to finish, right? That'd be kind of dumb. But, you know, I always go back to those types of movies, but it's just always like, I'm always just nervous. That's just me. But, you know, I try... You know, I do always try to finish a movie. I think there's only 2 movies that I've never finished, and they weren't horror movies. And they were just movies because they were just so bad. But this is like, you know, I finished it. I watched the whole movie. And it's not really that scary at all. So I haven't read the short story. I wouldn't compare it to the short story even if I had. Undoubtedly, it's better. But this movie is really weird because... You know, most people want to see this movie because Nicolas Cage is insane. But he's not insane till, like, towards the end of the movie, so I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird. But anyways, it's it's this horror movie. I'm not going to explain much about the plot or anything, but it's very insane. There's a lot going on within this movie. It's cosmic horror. It's horror that's made to mess with your mind and make you think things and just kind of freak you out within your own head. It's very smart horror. That's why I love H.P. Lovecraft. But, you know, this movie's very influenced by The Thing and other horror movies, and other type kind of stuff like that, and H.P. Lovecraft, because of course the original Thing was actually, which is a thing from another world, was actually inspired by it was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and then The Thing was a remake of that movie, so therefore it being a remake of that movie, it's inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, because the original movie is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. Complete timeline, I know. But, you know what I mean? So it's kind of taking inspiration from all these different things, and it doesn't do any of them better. A lot of the acting here is actually pretty bad. And this is weird to say this. I wouldn't say this for certain movies, but this is a movie that would benefit from being black and white. Because the whole point of this movie is that they can't see this insane color, right? And kind of cosmic thing. They can't see it. So when you're watching the movie and you see all this purple, it's like it kind of ruins the immersion of like, you can't see it. Because you can literally see the thing that they can't see, you know what I mean? They can't see the color of it. Their mind can't comprehend it, which is a lot of common theme of H.P. Lovecraft, is your mind can't comprehend it. But, you know, so it's very strange. It's very, like, huh? But, like, it's also really interesting and fascinating. It's a fun watch. This is a fun movie to watch. It's also not at times, because it's always like building up to something, and then what it builds up to is just not very good. So I don't know. I'd recommend this for a one-time watch, because there is definitely going to be people connect with this movie and love it. But I will say this about RLJ Entertainment movies: they are not children's movies. They are not the most comforting movies, and they're not for the faint of heart. And we'll talk about that when we rank them at the end of this video. So let's talk about the other movie I watched. Conan O'Brien, Can't Stop. This is a Conan O'Brien documentary, which I love Conan O'Brien. He's a great talk show host. I love his show. And I love the guy. This movie is incredibly well edited. It's incredibly funny. And it's constantly engaging. And I really love this movie. I'm not going to say like a ton about it, because there isn't a ton to say about this movie. This movie is fantastic, and you should watch it. Undoubtedly, it's a fantastic movie. I love this movie. One of my favorite things that I've watched this year, and I've been meaning to watch that for a long time. Alright, so now let's actually get into the ranking. We'll start with my Magnolia titles. So Magnolia has kind of some stranger movies, but we'll talk about them. So I got about, what, 4 or 5? Yeah, 5. So I'll rank them. 5, Freakonomics, the movie. It's a weird documentary. I don't know if it seems like a lot of the information in this movie is very made up. And this is a movie that I'm not even sure whether I'm going to keep it in my collection, because it seems so made up, and I don't know. I get a bad taste from this movie. I probably will never watch it again. Don't recommend it. So that's number 5. Number 4, Frank. It's kind of a generic, start of fame movie, but it's kind of unique because of the weird visual style with this guy in, and kind of this mask head or whatever. But you know, it's very interesting. Constantly is engaging, but it's kind of weird, kind of not, kind of generic. So it's kind of all over the place type of movie, but it's still good. And then you have number 3, The Yankles. The Yankles is actually, I think it's The Yankles. I really don't know how to pronounce this movie, and I keep having to apologize, but it's a fun not documentary. It's a funny comedy about like these kind of Jewish rabbis playing baseball. I never thought I'd find this movie. I honestly didn't think I would like this movie that much, but it was $1 and I watched it and I actually loved it. It was super funny. One of my favorite comedies. Frontera. Who knew Micah Pena could actually be such a good actor in a movie? This is fantastic. I absolutely adore this film. Highly recommend this one. If you haven't seen it, check that one out. And of course, number 1 is Conan O'Brien Can't Stop. Fantastic documentary about Conan O'Brien. You honestly should just watch this film. All these, by the way, $1 at Dollar Trees and 99-cent stores. So if you have any of those type stores near you, pick them up. They're all pretty good. Except Freakonomics, the movie. I'm not really sure about this movie, honestly. It just feels so made up, and that's what makes me go, you're trying to be a documentary, but it feels like you're making up information. And I think it is made up. Anyways, let's rank my RLJ entertainment, or not R, yeah, it's RLJE Entertainment. Or is it? It's RLJ Entertainment. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so there's no E at the end because the E stands for entertainment, so it's a better name. So let's talk about these movies. I will say, these movies are kind of more. So these movies are kind of fun. Like these are PGs, PG-13s. They're very. I mean, this is the only one that's kind of mature. Not even that mature, to be honest. But like these films are kind of tame. They're kind of more unique type indie movies, but they're not like trying to do anything that ambitious. In some areas they're just not the normal average type of movie like, you know, normal average day people would want to watch. They're not bad, and like if a normal average day person watched them, they'd probably just think either they're kind of or just like whatever, but you know, they wouldn't be on any of their favorites lists, of course. But these are hardcore because these are movies that are influenced by different things. They're kind of mature in a lot of areas, and not like, oh my gosh, they're so inappropriate or something, but like in terms of their subject matter, in terms of their humor, in terms of the content within them, you know, and I enjoy that aspect about these movies. But if, you know, I wouldn't recommend these to just any average person. You have to be prepared to sit down and watch these movies. And some of these I wasn't prepared to sit down and watch. Some of these dragged me in emotionally and did things to me. But yeah, let's talk about them. So we're gonna put what do we got here? Another 5 movies. Let's put Kickboxer Vengeance at the bottom. It's a good movie. In fact, it's a pretty awesome movie, but I don't know. This one didn't stick with me the way like the rest did. Like, I can't remember any specific visuals, dialogue, images, or anything. I think it's a good movie, but I just like it doesn't stick with me like these other ones do. I still think it's good though. Color Out of Space is a number 4 on this list. I just think this is I think it's got so many issues that I just can't put it above this spot. But I will go back to this for how unique it was, because this was a unique film, and we need more adaptations of kind of cosmic horror, which isn't a genre that gets a lot of love, and we need more films like this. So it is worth a watch just for that alone, but I just can't put it above these other films, because all these other films are way better. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is number 3. This is a brutal, not very fun time to watch, and that's kind of why it's at number 3. It's good though, and it's just very, very, very hard to watch. And if you're not prepared for what goes down in this movie, I'm just going to leave it at that. Bone Tomahawk. This is a really fantastic Western horror movie-esque. It's really confusing at times, because it's just like it's so unique and so different. And I think if you know nothing about this movie right now, keep it that way. Go watch this film. You cannot look up trailers, plot information. It ruins the film. This film is built on you not knowing anything about it going into it, and it really helps the film. It's exciting. It's constantly investing. The action is great. The dialogue is great. The acting is incredible. I love this film, and you should watch it. And finally, we arrived at my favorite comedy of all time, besides Big. They're kind of at the number one spot together. Arizona. This movie is a brutal movie that's about suicide, violence, the housing industry in Arizona, and all these crazy things, and yet it constantly remains hilarious. It has an incredibly dark sense of humor to it, and it's constantly engaging. And I love this movie. Some people are not going to like it. It's not going to be their sense of humor, and I totally get that, but it's so insanely witty and smart that honestly, I don't care. This is my favorite. This is just one of my favorite comedies ever made. I love this movie. But yeah, that's all the movies I watched, and I love them. I think every single one of these movies, I have a soft spot somewhere for them, and I don't know.